Hello, artist. Mrs. Rushton here. I have a pretty exciting project to share with you today. Now, hopefully you still have that colorful piece of paper that you created yesterday because we're using that today. Today, we're going to be creating a negative and positive space piece of artwork. So let's go ahead and gather our supplies. My colorful piece of paper, pair of scissors, a pencil, and your glue stick. Hopefully you have picked up your supply box from school because that included at least the glue stick. So if you don't have any glue, and any pair of scissors will work. If you happen to have any colored construction paper at home that you'd like to use instead of the white paper, I'm okay with that. But let me show you something. You have to have your construction paper be the exact same size as your colorful paper. When you lay your paper on top, you're going to see my colorful paper is smaller. So I would have to line up my edges, okay, and trim off the extra of the construction paper. I'm going to just use a white background. So the first step that I want you to do is to take your colorful paper and to fold it in half. It's up to you which direction, vertical or horizontal. I'm going to go horizontal. Okay. Step 2 is we are going to be drawing 4 shapes into this design, and they are going to be touching the 4 edges. Okay? And you're going to start and stop on that edge. So let's go ahead. I'll start at the bottom here. Hopefully you can see my pencil when I draw. It can be a really planned out shape, like let's say like a letter or an actual like a heart or something like that, or it can be very organic and be squiggly, scraggly. Totally up to you. I think I'm going to do really organic shapes, but I'm going to be cutting these out with my scissors, so don't get too crazy. Okay, so I started on the bottom edge and I drew my organic line that I wanted, and I ended on the bottom edge. So I'm going to rotate my paper and I'm going to do a shape over here. I'm going to do this different. I'm going to do this more geometric. Okay, so I'm not really worried about what the shape is. I'm just trying to do something interesting. Started on this edge, ended on the edge. Rotate it. Let's do something over here. I think I'll go okay. And my last one over here, I'm going to just kind of a curve, like a round bubble shape. Okay, so there are my 4 shapes. Step 3, I'm going to cut these out. And the thing you have to remember is I need you to keep your paper folded, squeeze it together as you cut these out, and save the pieces. We're going to use every piece of this, so don't throw them away or cut them up into little pieces, and try to keep them together and organized. Okay, I have cut out all of my shapes. Now the last shape I cut out was the one that was on the fold of my paper. So I have another step to do. If I open this up, it's just a solid shape. So I need to take, and I'm actually going to cut along the fold. I'm going to do that on this paper and all of this background paper. So where I had it folded, I'm going to cut this in half on the fold. Okay, so now I have all these pieces. What I want to do next is to kind of put it back together like it's a puzzle, because I need to remember where everything was. And I should be looking at the side of the paper that does not have my pencil mark. So like the front, the nice front colorful piece of your paper. So here we go. I'm going to start to puzzle piece this back together. Okay, so now I have all my pieces. I haven't lost anything, and it's pretty much back together like a puzzle piece. So what I want to show you, and then we will actually glue it down, is that on one half, I'm going to be using the background, or the part that's going to become the negative space. That's the only part I'm going to keep. I'm going to take away all the shapes that I made. On the other side, I'm going to just keep the, let's see, I'm gonna get rid of the background. I'm gonna, get rid of the shapes and leave the background. Woo, that was a little confusing. So let's see, on this side, I think I'm going to get rid of the shapes and leave the background. I'm just gonna put these to the side in case I have a mistake. And on this side, I would get rid of the background and leave the shapes. So now I have the opposite on either end, but I have to glue this down. So what I want you to do is, again, don't get rid of anything. Take these shapes and put those to the side. Now I want you to get your background piece of paper. And remember, I'm just using that plain white paper for my background. You might be using the color construction paper. I want you to take and I want you to fold it in half the same way you did for your colorful paper. So mine was horizontally. So I'm going to fold it again horizontally. And I'm going to press. And that's a guideline. That's going to help me line up all of my pieces. So I'm going to push that off to the side. And I'm going to get this piece of paper that is all the background. And that I'm going to be gluing on this side, making sure I line up my corners and my center part. I'm using a glue stick. So I'm going to flip it over. I can see my pencil lines, and I'm going to take my glue stick, working pretty fast. I'm going to apply a lot of glue, and then I'm going to stick it down. Okay. Now you might have noticed that was a little challenging. So what I did was I made sure I started with my corners and then I kind of worked my way to the center. That way I know that I lined it up with the edges of my paper. Now the next part is we're going to be taking the shapes from the other side and putting them, oops, that doesn't work, and putting them down on this side. So I'm going to just eyeball it, but I'm going to show you how you're going to make sure it's accurate. So that's about where they go, but to make sure I know exactly where they go, I'm going to use my other side as a template, okay? So actually move these off to the side a little bit. I'm just going to lay this down. This is just going to kind of help me. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pencil and I'm just going to make a few small light marks where I know that that shape needs to go. Okay, so I'm going to hold this down in the corner, line it up, and I'm going to put just a little mark here where I know that that curve should go. Same thing here. Line it up, put a little guideline so I know where to put my wiggly. And then last one, line this up, corners, and put a little mark. I'm going to start in the middle because I know that this one is a little easier of a shape for me to do. Turn it over. There you have it. There is my negative and positive space artwork. It's kind of confusing when you look at it, but if you pay close attention, you're going to notice that whatever is white on this side is colorful on this side. This is going to take some time, so don't rush through it. Take your time, do a nice job, and don't forget to take a picture and upload it onto your slides that I've assigned to you that had the instructions, and then just turn that in.